Right, let's talk about the American dream. You know the one. It's that beautiful, shimmering idea sold to us in movies and political speeches. It's the promise that with a bit of elbow grease and a can-do attitude, anyone can make it. You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps even if you can't afford the boots, or the straps, or the socks. This is the land of the free, a place where opportunity supposedly knocks on every door. The problem is, it seems opportunity has started charging a hefty cover fee just to get in the building, and most of us are stuck outside, peering through a very grimy window. The very idea of freedom is fundamentally tied to the ability to make choices for yourself. But how free are you, really, when your choices are dictated not by your desires but by your bank balance? The cost of living in this country has become a cruel joke, and frankly, nobody is laughing. Housing prices are so astronomical, you'd think the listings were for prime real estate on Mars. Meanwhile, wages have stagnated with the enthusiasm of a sloth on tranquilizers. This isn't a temporary glitch in the system, it's the system operating exactly as designed, squeezing every last drop of financial security from the average person until their only freedom is choosing which bill to pay late this month. Think about it. The pursuit of happiness, a cornerstone of American identity, now requires a subscription plan most can't afford. Basic necessities are being rebranded as luxury items. A stable home, a decent education, the ability to save for the future, these are not extravagant wants. They are the very foundations of a dignified life. Yet they are increasingly out of reach. We've created a society where financial independence is the real American dream, and for millions it remains just that, a dream. A dream you have while sleeping in your car because you can't afford the rent on an apartment. This isn't just about being poor, it's about the relentless, soul-crushing anxiety that comes with living on a razor's edge. It's the constant fear that one unexpected expense, a broken-down car, a sick pet, a refrigerator on the fritz, is all it takes to send your entire life spiraling into chaos. That isn't freedom. That's a high-wire act without a safety net, performed over a pit of hungry crocodiles. And the worst part? We're told to smile and enjoy the show, because at least the concessions are only moderately overpriced. The land of the free? It's starting to feel more like the land of the fee. Now, let's move on to everyone's favorite topic of lighthearted conversation, American healthcare. A system so famously efficient and affordable that people regularly start GoFundMe pages to, not die. In what other developed nation is getting sick considered a potential catalyst for financial ruin? Freedom is about having control over your life, but our healthcare system holds millions of Americans hostage. It's a terrifying game of Russian roulette, where the bullet is a bill for thousands of dollars for the audacity of having a body that does what bodies sometimes do, break. The shadow of medical debt looms over this country like a vast predatory bird. It is a uniquely American monster. Families are forced to drain their life savings, sell their homes, and plunge themselves into a debt spiral that can last for generations, all for the crime of needing medical attention. People delay crucial treatments and avoid visiting the doctor for fear of the invoice that will inevitably follow. This isn't a choice, it's a calculation of survival. Do I risk my health, or do I risk my family's entire financial future? That's not a decision anyone should have to make in a country that prides itself on liberty. This system doesn't just punish the sick, it fundamentally alters how we live. It tethers people to jobs they despise simply for the health insurance benefits, creating a workforce of golden handcuffed employees. Forget pursuing your passion or starting a small business. That's a luxury for those who aren't terrified of what a simple appendectomy might cost on the open market. The freedom to choose your own path is a myth when one of the paths leads directly off a financial cliff. The American healthcare system has become a ball and chain, shackling people to fear and preventing them from taking the risks that lead to innovation and personal fulfillment. And let's be clear, this is a crisis by design. It's the result of a system that prioritizes profits over patients, where insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, and hospital networks have created a labyrinth of complexity designed to extract maximum wealth. Your health is their business model. Your suffering is a line item on a quarterly earnings report. The lack of freedom here is profound. It's the claustrophobic feeling of being trapped in a system that sees you not as a person to be cared for, but as a resource to be mined until you are completely depleted. Alright, so if you can't afford to live and you can't afford to get sick, you can at least make your voice heard at the ballot box, right? That's the whole point of democracy. One person, one vote, a beautiful, simple concept. Except in America, we've managed to complicate it with all the grace of a toddler trying to build an IKEA bookshelf. For a staggering number of citizens, the right to vote is less a sacred privilege and more an obstacle course designed by a sadist with a passion for bureaucracy. It's less about participation and more about active, targeted exclusion. Voter suppression isn't some historical artifact we read about in textbooks. It's happening right now, in broad daylight. It's the strategic closure of polling places in specific neighborhoods, forcing people to wait in line for hours just to exercise their fundamental right. It's the implementation of strict voter ID laws that disproportionately affect the poor, the elderly, and minority communities who may not have the required documents or the means to easily obtain them. These aren't measures to secure our elections, they are barriers deliberately erected to keep certain voices silent. It's a velvet-glove disenfranchisement. The message this sends is chillingly clear: your voice is not wanted here. When a government makes it harder for its own citizens to participate in the democratic process, it is actively undermining the very foundation upon which it stands. Freedom of speech means nothing if you are systematically denied the most powerful way to speak, your vote. This isn't just a procedural issue, it is a profound moral failing. It creates a two-tiered system of citizenship, where some people's opinions are valued, and others are simply expected to accept the decisions made for them by a political class they had no say in choosing. This erosion of voting rights has a corrosive effect on our entire society. It breeds cynicism and apathy, convincing people that the system is rigged and that their participation doesn't matter. And when people check out, it becomes even easier for those in power to ignore their needs. True freedom requires an active, engaged citizenry holding its leaders accountable. But how can that possibly happen when the rulebook is being constantly rewritten to ensure that a significant portion of the team can't even get onto the field to play the game? Finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room. An elephant made of money, wearing a suit, and whispering sweet nothings into the ears of our elected officials. The influence of big corporations and wealthy donors on American politics is not a conspiracy theory, it's a daily reality. Our political system has become a marketplace where policies are bought and sold to the highest bidder. This isn't a government of the people, by the people, for the people. It's a government of the corporation by the lobbyist for the shareholder, and the rest of us are just spectators. The sheer volume of money in politics is staggering. It drowns out the voices of ordinary citizens with the force of a tsunami. When a single corporation can spend millions on lobbying and campaign contributions, how can the concerns of an average family possibly compete? Politicians who need vast sums of money to get elected and stay in office become beholden to their donors, not their constituents. They spend their time listening to the needs of the industries that fund them, while the needs of the public, for affordable healthcare, clean air, and fair wages, are politely ignored. This is not democracy, it's a sponsored event. This corporate capture of our government affects every aspect of our lives. It's why pharmaceutical companies can charge extortionate prices for life-saving drugs. It's why environmental regulations are rolled back, even as the planet cooks. It's why the tax code seems to be written by a team of accountants working for the billionaire class. The choices we have as consumers and citizens are often illusions, carefully curated by powerful interests to ensure their profits are protected. Our freedom is constrained by a system that prioritizes corporate well-being over human well-being. So we come to the final uncomfortable question. We are told relentlessly that this is the freest country on earth. But what does that freedom truly mean if you are financially shackled, one illness away from bankruptcy, and your voice is systematically marginalized in a political system that answers to money, not to you? We have the illusion of freedom, the branding of freedom, the merchandise of freedom, but when you look past the slogans and the flags, you have to ask yourself a very serious question. In a nation where your financial worth so often determines your rights and your access to power, are we truly as free as we think we are? Subscribe for more, comment if you like, and thanks for watching.